What's up guys, Boss here, and in today's video I brought a special guest. As you guys can see, I'm in a clan called Drill God because the number one player from last season, ASAP, finished number one in the world with Goblin Drill Cycle, and he used two different drill decks. I'm going to be showing you guys 3 games with a Fireball variation of drill and then 2 games with a Rocket variation. He's insane with it. You can see he finished first in the world, 8,602 trophies, and I figured you guys would really enjoy this type of video where I just show you guys the games that got him there, and there were some really good players he played against. He played against Ian77, who I'm sure you guys know who that is. He played against Chris Lyon, a really good Cycle player. He played against Moogie. He played against Anaban. A lot of people know Anaban as the guy who has so many number 1 ladder finishes. And then he played against Stardust. If you don't know who that is Igor, one of the very best mortar players in the game. So I'm excited to show you guys the gameplay and kind of talk through his decision making. So hopefully you guys can become better at Drill. One of the strongest decks in the game right now, and Drill didn't even get nerfed. Before we head in the first match, if you guys would like to support me, you can use my creator code BOSS. New season, new meta. I'm super excited. We're going to get balance changes really soon. And what do you guys think of this banner? I thought that's just really cool, this Ice Wizard one. But anyway, guys, let's get right into the first replay here. I got 5 games for you guys. They're really good matches, and these were all matches that were like right before he got first. In fact, this match you're watching right now was the match that got him first, because as you saw, it showed he was at 85-70 something, and then he won this, and this is what got him first. So as you can see, he's starting the game off hyper aggressive, and this is exactly what you want to do with this drill variation, because you can defend just about anything with the Inferno Tower and the Skeleton Army. So in single elixir, you want to be putting the pressure on constantly. He is not afraid to go for drill wall breakers first play of the game. And also, before we get too far intense into the game, I also want to say ASAP wanted me to let you guys know he has a YouTube as well as a Twitter. I will leave those in the description below. Those were the only 2 things he wanted me to shout out, so make sure to follow him on those 2 things. I don't know how many videos he's uploaded on YouTube, but I think he's going to start uploading more frequently, so be sure to check that out if you want to get better at Drill. Like I said, one of the strongest win conditions in the game right now. So as you can see, he again putting the pressure on. Already a really good start here for him, and Ian is falling behind a little bit here, and you can see he even goes Dark Goblin wall breakers, and you might be looking at it thinking like, what the heck, this is just spam, 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 but it's smart. It's smart, you know why? Because Ian didn't have his login cycle. So it was the perfect time to go for Wall Breaker's Dark Goblin, because first of all, Ian wasn't going to expect it, and second of all, not only did he not expect it, he didn't have the proper cycle for it. Like, if he had log in hand, it of course would have been a bad play, but he didn't, and this is exactly what ASAP is doing. He's always ensuring, like, he remembers his opponent's cycle, and this is the best of the best with their deck. They're always remembering their opponent's cycle and their elixir, and that is what makes them so good. You could call it like one tricks with a deck. ASAP is also good with some other cycle decks, but he's known for being, just the best in the game with Goblin Drill. And Ian already lost half of his tower at the start of the game here. You can see he's laughing. He's pretty frustrated because, he's just taken so much damage. And the nice thing about, the Inferno is, even though you might not think of it as being good against Royal Hogs, it just distracts them for such a long time. You can see even with, Ian going for an EQ, he's not able to get through, and you can switch up the placement with the Inferno so they don't just go for like a predictive EQ. So when you're always switching things up, it just makes it so annoying for your opponent to break through. But I think ASAP is just playing this really smart, because in my opinion, this isn't even a really easy matchup for Drill. I feel like this is one that could go either way, because I feel like the Archer Queen and Log get a lot of value, as well as the delivery, to be honest, against the Drills, but he's just played it so smart at the beginning that he gave himself such a massive lead that really kind of like helped set him up here in Double Elixir, which you're kind of seeing right now. At this point, he just has to make sure he defends, because that Drill is always going to get chip damage every time, and that's part of what makes Drill kind of broken, in my opinion. It's guaranteed damage. Even if the Goblins don't get hits, it gets that small amount of damage, and chances are, almost every Drill you drop, unless you're playing against someone who defends it perfectly, you're going to take damage. Like right here, Fireball comes in, takes out the Spirit, and ASAP already won. Ian, not happy at all. Drill definitely can overwhelm you if you, are not careful, and even when you have counters to it, they can be outcycled, which ASAP did. So, as you guys can see, we got another match here And this time he's playing against Chris, who is also a very good cycle player who happens to be running drill right now too. So you're going to be seeing this rocket variation, the one I was talking about. And in this video, ASAP does run this variation a couple times himself, so you'll see there's a little bit of a difference in playstyle, but both of them are played pretty aggressively. And you're seeing right now, he is not at all afraid to go drill wall breakers first play of the game. Chris probably didn't expect it. He takes one wall breaker connection, which is a pretty big connection. I mean, every time you get a wall, oh my gosh, and look at that fire spirit. I almost think that was a prediction. Did you see how it predicted the bats? Like, it was going to, I think, hit the spear goblins anyway, but ended up hitting the bats. And I think that might have been a prediction because he might have knew he had to drop something. So that was, the Skeleton King was bad. I think he tried to activate it, so he lost 2 elixir there. Sometimes when you use a champion's ability and if it doesn't go off, you get the elixir back. I don't know if he got it back. Maybe he did. I wasn't really paying attention to that. But either way, it's only like 2 elixirs, so it's not really the end of the world. So he's not afraid here to go defensive wall breakers. That's interesting because so far we've seen him play really aggressive, but then right there he uses his main win condition, or secondary one, because I guess drill's the main one. He uses it on defense to soak up a little bit of damage. And also something I see as ASAP do sometimes too is he'll use them to kite things, right? So let's say there's like a bandit or something, or like a P.E.K.K.A, right? Or like a prince, whatever, you could use it to kite. So that's another cool way, and that kind of shows you right there, like he just used it again to distract. He's not afraid to do that, so don't think you only need to use them on offense. They will get you a lot of value for just 2 elixir distracting things. So here I was thinking he would send in the drill, and also I didn't watch all of these games live. The only one I think I saw live was the Ian one, so I'm kind of with you guys also watching and like, you know, learning a bit about his, you know, like strategy and how he's playing it. And this, guys, I would really recommend, if you want to get better at the game, to do more of this, because I can say for myself, a lot of you guys like ask me like, how do I get better at the game? I think watching people is extremely important. I think I won't go as far as saying this. I was about to say you should probably watch as much as you play, but I don't think that's realistic for a lot of people because most people don't have, you know, all the time in the world to be like playing this game a ton. But I think watching people who are better than you with a deck is just one of the best ways to learn it. In fact, it might even be better than you trying to learn it yourself, because there's so many interactions you're going to pick up on that you just don't know. Like there was, before I did this video where I was showing you guys Ian's games that got him first, and then I think I might have done this like one other time or something, I can't remember, but I feel like every time I do this and like I'm watching these games too, it just kind of helps you, you know, you pick up on interactions and just kind of like the flow of the game, like what you want to cycle at certain times and just all that good stuff. I think it's very, very helpful to watch the best of the best with the deck they're using if you're not good with it yourself. So for example, I'm someone who's pretty good with, you know, you could say like RG, I'm pretty good with like Electro Giant, I'm pretty good at a couple other things like, you know, like Royal Hog decks, I'm pretty good at like Drill Tornado Golden Knight, the one with Magic Archer, but this Drill Cycle deck, for example, like Hog EQ, I'm not that great at, so I love watching, you know, the best with it to pick up on things. And right now it isn't looking good for a Sapphire. You can see that he was actually down for a second, but then he gets that damage right back with that drill. And Chris is surprisingly going to leak Elixir. It seemed like he didn't really know what to do there. And look at this Dark Goblin. This was really smart. He played it at the bridge to snipe that cannon. I might have even, I think I remember that happening. I think I started watching this game when it was halfway through, because I do remember him going for that Dark Goblin at the bridge on that cannon. That was a really smart play. And those wall breakers too, predicting that he was going to go for the Golden Knight dash. I mean, all these small, like, micro plays are just really good. Scarby coming in, even though it gets logged away, it still does a good job distracting. Goblins, though, get a couple shots, but look at the right side. I mean, he dealt so much damage there to Chris's tower. And, yeah, he's just been doing such a good job of keeping these Golden Knights off the tower. You see even the Skarmy there too soaks it up. It's not GG yet though. I mean, 2 rockets would put it pretty close, but because ASAP is pressuring so well, the rocket is just not ever able to come down. Chris, I think, doesn't use a single rocket this whole match, and that kind of proves it. Then that is why sometimes having Fireball can be better than having rocket, just because I think you're going to be able to get more value against cycle decks, whereas like with Rocket, you're not going to be getting much value, and depending on the matchup, you sometimes can't just always cycle it on top of the tower, but it really depends on what you're against, because when you're against Sparky, let's say, then yeah, you're going to love having it, obviously. So that was a nice win against Chris, but yeah, we're not done yet, guys. We got some really good matches still left. We have one you can see against Moogie, and Moogie, in my opinion, is, you know, I mean, well, if you guys didn't know, he's, you know, the world champion. So, I mean, one of the very best players in the game. I think Mohamed Light's a little better than Moogie. That's a little controversial. Some people think Moogie's better because he won Worlds. I do think, though, Mohamed Light is slightly better. But Moogie is, for sure, I would say, the second best player in the game, without a doubt. I mean, he's a beast. And I will say, even though I think Mohamed Light is better than Moogie, I think Moogie's more talented because Moogie plays way less than Mohamed Light, and he's able to keep his skill. Mo is one of the biggest grinders I know. He probably averages like 6 hours a day playing this game, whereas Moogie, I'm pretty sure, only plays a couple hours a day. There's some days he doesn't even play. So that kind of shows you right there, Moogie just has an insane amount of talent, and he's able to keep his skill. Like, he just knows what to do, you know? Like, he just doesn't lose that skill, I guess. It's pretty impressive. And you can see already a really good start here for Saf. You can see, again, he's just going so aggressive with those drills and single elixir. So if you're picking up on anything in this video, it's to not be afraid to apply some pressure and single with this deck. And that's, in fact, how you're supposed to play it. Because in lots of matchups, you're not going to be able to break through because the other player is going to keep their cycle in check. They're going to be ready for those drills. But, and again, do you see that again? The Wall Breaker Dark Goblin play. That is something I learned now with this deck. Okay, when your opponent has log and they don't have an Encycle, don't be afraid to do that. Go Wall Breakers Dark Goblin. So now that's something I'm going to do. I just learned that, and I'm going to apply that to my own gameplay. Nice cleanup there by Moogie, but he did have to overcommit. I mean, he went Giant Skeleton and Log, so he spent 8 Elixir just to take out a Drill. That's not very good. Hog in the other lane, not that great, because it just got killed by the Skarmy. And see, this is smart, because now the Skarmy's going to fill up the bar of the Skeleton King. I don't know if he's going to be able to use the ability, though, because, well, oh, nice. Maybe he will use it here. No, he didn't. Yeah, as you can tell, I didn't watch this game, so I didn't know if he was going to use it or not there. But yeah, this is already pretty much a game one. I mean, when you take out half of your opponent's tower, unless you're in a really, really bad matchup, chances are you're probably going to win, because you just have to play defensively, but, well, no, he's not playing defensively. He's still being aggressive. And I realize you have to do that because if you don't, they're going to put the pressure on. And I think when you're against something like Hog EQ, and it really showed this in the match against Ian, where you saw he was being really aggressive against Ian, it prevents them from building a push. So he goes defensive drill there. I was not expecting that. Do I say that was a mistake? I don't think it was, because it distracted the Giant Skeleton there and the Queen, and I mean, it worked out. It looked like it was a bad play, but it actually worked. Like, that's something I wouldn't have done. I mean, I didn't realize the defensive drill there was going to get the value it did. I would have thought, like, oh, well, it's just going to die quickly to the Queen and Giant Skeleton, but it actually distracted everything, allowing the Inferno to stay alive, and it also, you could say it was just a type of thing, it's better to be safe, like, you know, because Asaph didn't want to take any unnecessary damage from the push. You know, he wants to keep this lead he has here. Again, there's the clean defense by Moogie. Moogie's playing really well now, but it doesn't matter. He just took all that damage at the beginning that it's going to be really tough for him to come back. I mean, at this point, he needs to get like 5 hog hits in order to win the game. I mean, it's like not even close. And there you go. Defensive drill once again on top of the Hog Rider. And even with that EQ, the Hog only gets 1 shot. So, I mean, you could say that that was a pretty good defense because, you know, Moogie spent 7 and only 4 was spent to defend it. And there you go, Dark Goblin again getting that value, even though Moogie had log. I don't know if like drop glitch or something happened where like he tried to play it and it like didn't place. If you guys don't know what that is, it means like it like goes back in your hand. It happens a lot when you run like a cycle deck. Like you try to place it, doesn't go. That happened to me actually in a video just a little while ago, but it doesn't happen too often. It probably to me only happens like, I don't know, like once every couple weeks, which might sound pretty frequent, but not really when you play like every day. But for other players who main cycle decks, it happens to them, like, almost every day. So hopefully they fix it. But yeah, that's going to be GG. He just has to fireball. That was some really, really clean gameplay. I personally, was pretty impressed by that. There were a couple things I certainly wouldn't have done, like those defensive drills. I need to, keep in mind that that's, a good play when your cycle's kind of bad, or maybe you can't afford an Inferno. Don't be scared to do that. So next one is against Anaban here, who has, I think he has like 8 #1 finishes. It's kind of ridiculous. He's also known to snipe, so of course a lot of those #1 finishes he got by sniping, but nonetheless he has a really good understanding of ladder and when to search. So I mean, I'll give him that. So Anaban running a Golem deck and Asaph running this drill deck with Rocket. So as I said, there were 2 games he played with this variation, and he played 3 with the Inferno Fireball one. So you guys can decide for yourself which one you think is better. I will tell you this right now. The Rocket one, the one Asaph is using right now, there's only 2 cards in it getting nerfed. The Fire Spirit and the Golden Knight. Whereas the Skeleton King one, there's 3. The Skeleton King, the Fireball, and the Fire Spirit. But I will say this though. Skeleton King I still think is going to be an amazing card. I mean, it's broken right now, right? That's why they nerfed it. I still think he's easily going to be OP and one of the best cards in the game. Same with the Fire Spirit. I mean, the only main interactions is it's not going to kill Lava Pups anymore, but the Inferno is really good against Lava Hound anyway. And the Fireball, I mean, it's been broken for like 4 or 5 years. A very versatile card. It's the reason why Law got nerfed too, just a couple months ago. I personally think it's justified, even though it can be kind of annoying, especially those of you who use Fireball in all your decks, but it's still going to be a really good card. I mean, it'll still have some knockback. It's not going to have all of it, but it's still going to be some. And it'll be, enough for it to be a solid card still, especially in Drill. So I think, don't be worried about, these decks being dead, because I certainly do not think they will be dead. I mean, especially the Rocket one, but I think both of them are going to be fine. You just have to make sure, obviously you perfect your gameplay with them, and you should be alright. So, Anaban here hasn't been able to do much in single, but what's pretty surprising is Asaph hasn't really gotten any damage either. You can see the Skeleton King is a really good counter to the Drill, and it's not really something Asaph can rocket, because in single especially, because it's way too aggressive. It's 4 elixir and it doesn't die to the Rocket, and the ability can still be used after, so very risky to do that. So he's had to play this very, very passively in single, which is not something you'd expect against Golem, but it's the proper play, and this is what you'll sometimes see too. A lot of cycle players do this. I've seen this too with like minor wall breakers and like other things too. Sometimes you can't do much in single, and even though you think of a beatdown deck like Lava or Golem doing better in double, that's not always the case. Lava Hound especially, sometimes you'll see Lava players go like Lava and single, and the cycle player can't defend that Lava because they only have 1 air counter and they can't cycle 2 of them. Like for example, it's hard for them to go for 2 Musketeers, whereas in double or triple they can. So that's kind of the exact same thing as this match here. It's the same reason why Asaph hasn't been able to have a lot of success in single, because Anaban, it's easy for him to always have something good in cycle for that Drill, whereas in double and triple he can outcycle it a little bit easier. But the thing is this is a very strange Golem deck. I think clearly Anaban was trying to snipe something because of the Fisherman. Obviously, it wasn't Drill he was trying to snipe, because he wouldn't have had Fisherman inside of it. But either way, I don't know for sure what Anaban was doing or what he was sniping. He just likes to run these variations to snipe certain things. And this Drill is getting a lot of damage. I mean, look at all that. Golden Knight doesn't make it to the tower, though, unfortunately. But yeah, he's just playing this really cleanly, because some of the cards Anaban has are very annoying. Like the Baby Dragon just kills Spear Goblins, Bats, so he's going to go defensive Drill here, and I think he has to rocket this, right? Yeah, I knew it. Like, I mean, there was just no other play. But that cleans everything up. Ooh, Skeleton King coming in. Ability, Log is going to just finish that off nicely, and yeah, this is really nice. 30 seconds, though. He's not out of this yet. But he's going to... Okay, he's going to drill on offense. I thought that would have been kind of risky, but he's going to do it anyway. Rely on the cannon. Spear gobs. He notices... This is really, really nice, guys. Notice the cannon placement. Do you see how he's playing it high up and one tile over so it can't be lightninged? In that position, Anaban is unable to lightning the tower and the cannon. That might seem insignificant, but I think that's one of the plays that allowed him to, you know, defend and win this match, because if he played the cannon close to the tower, Anaban would have been able to lightning both, and Anaban would have been able to get more chip damage, and ultimately he might have even been able to win the match with just 2 or 3 more lightnings on top of the tower. But that wasn't the case, because it's not worth it to just lightning the cannon when it's by itself and you can't hit the tower too. So we got one more game here against Stardust, who, as I've already said at the beginning, is Igor. He is one of the best mortar players in the game. I would even say he's the best mortar player in the game. I mean, yeah, he probably is. I mean, maybe Mohammed Light is better than him with mortar, because Mo is kind of good, like, he plays, like, pretty much every deck perfectly, but let's just say Igor's the best mortar player in the game. I mean, he has, like, I think 4 or 5 #1 finishes with it, or something crazy like that. So you can see Asaph, again, being really aggressive. He goes in for the Skeleton King, wall breakers, and the drill. And even though Igor is going to be able to, I was going to say defend that, he didn't even really, because the Skeleton King splashed it. So I was going to say, like, even though he somewhat defended it, he had to overcommit a lot. He had to go for a mortar, a giant skeleton, and even after doing all of that, he still lost over 1,000 hit points on top of his tower. So single elixir seems to be key for this drill deck. I mean, like, if you don't win in single, you're in trouble. That's what I'm realizing too. So again, really aggressive with the drill and wall breakers, and this time around, Igor is going to defend it a lot better and take little to no damage, so that was nicely played by Igor. And I actually thought Asaph was going to go for a fireball on top of that queen and mortar, but instead, he's gonna... Oh, wow, I thought he would have gone Scar Me, but he didn't even need it, so he goes Scar Me after. And does the ability come out? No, it doesn't. That ability would have been really good, I think. I think he just didn't get it off in time. Like, he was so close to being able to activate it, but it died right beforehand because Igor didn't have anything in cycle for it. He had Fire Spirit and Skeleton, so he would have lost a lot of his tower. So again, Drill comes in, and Asaph wasn't even, like, filled up on Elixir or anything. He played it right at, I think he was only at 5, so that's the other thing. He doesn't wait for his Elixir bar to fill up. Even when he's at, you know, 5, 6 Elixir, he's still putting the pressure on. So that's another key takeaway here, is don't just, you know, wait until 10 Elixir. And this is the biggest mistake. I just want to give this tip right now. I see so many people who run decks, and they're, like, unsure of what to do, so they, like, leak Elixir when they're full, and sometimes it's a deck where you don't even want to leak Elixir, and then sometimes it might be one where you sometimes want to, but people don't even realize that you're up like 5 Elixir compared to your opponent. I mean, you know, you got to play something. Don't just, you know, let them catch back up to you. You're just helping them out. And just a tip, I don't even know why I'm telling you guys this. I guess I can because it's inside of the game, so you can do it if you want. But I would recommend getting good at counting Elixir on your own. But if you guys didn't know, you can actually spectate, you know, yourself for Elixir. And if you don't have a second device, you could play, you know, on call with your friends, and they could, like, call out Elixir for you while you push ladder, or they push it too, and you, like, take turns doing that. Just a tip, I wanted to throw that out there. So if you're, like, that bad at counting Elixir, and you want to have that advantage of, like, always knowing what your, you know, opponent's at in Elixir, then there you go, you're welcome. You guys might have not known that, but I'm sure a lot of you guys did. But I just wanted to say that anyway, because I think it's, you know, really important that one way or another you get good at knowing what your opponent's Elixir is at. But you can see Igor starting to catch up now, and this is what I was talking about. Him going for that aggression in single allowed him to, you know, just maintain a lead throughout the match, whereas if he didn't do that and he got into double, he would have been in a lot of trouble. Like, Igor would have won this match, I can pretty much confidently say, because you can see now the gap is less than what it was before, because remember, Igor got like 1,000 damage taken from his tower in the first push, and right now you can see it's only like, look, It's going to be only about 500, it looks like. Even less. He almost threw. He almost threw. That's actually crazy. Wow. Okay. I was like, okay, 500, and then that Fire Spirit jumped on. He almost lost. He was like a tenth of a second away from losing. And he had that like massive lead at the beginning too. That is ridiculous. Alright, well, hope you guys enjoyed the video. That was some quality gameplay, I would say. I mean, he was going against, you know, obviously the best of the best, because all these games were like, you know, in the last couple hours of the season. So yeah, huge shout out to ASAP for these matches. I hope you guys all enjoyed them. As I've already said, he does have a Twitter that he posts on pretty frequently, and he's got a YouTube as well, so make sure to follow him there. I will leave those in the description below. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe if you guys are not subscribed already, and let me know if I should do this video format again in the future with someone else.